My house has over 150 HomeKit devices. That means I can automate everything from shades, fans, contact sensors, lights, motion, and more. But what automations are actually useful when you have a smart home? Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 automations, and many of them get into the advanced level, some using a free third-party app to send you a notification if a door is left open. How to use multiple sensors in a single automation, create automations based on the weather outside, and more. So let's build some automations. Now, aside from one third-party app, I'm going to build all the automations directly here in the Home app, so it doesn't require any other kind of hub, bridge, or third-party service. And we'll start out with a semi-easy one. This first automation requires a contact sensor and then lights to be connected to some kind of smart switch, or you could use a lamp and a smart plug. But here in my kids' bathroom, they have a habit of leaving on all the things, the lights, the fans, and so I wanted to be able to automatically turn off all these devices when they're not in the bathroom. So what I did was put a sensor on the door. This way you can read when the door is open and closed. And now we can create a simple automation that when they leave the bathroom, all that stuff gets turned off. So I can tap the plus icon here to create a new automation in the Home app. I'll tap Add Automation. And if you're used to building automations in the Shortcuts app, you'll see we only have a few triggers here. But I'm going to use when a sensor detects something. Now here, you're going to see all the sensors across your house, both temperatures, motion, light, and more. Here in the kids' bathroom, I'm going to use the P2 door sensor. That's that Aqara sensor, and I'll put links to all the devices like the sensors and switches that make these automations possible down in the video description. I'll tap Next, and now I want to when the door opens, because that means they're going to be leaving the bathroom. They close the door every time they use it, so I know they open it every time they leave. Now you can adjust automations to be just during a certain time of day, which I'm going to use in other automations, and if someone specifically is home. I'll leave all of that as default and go to Next. Now it's asking what devices you want to control when that sensor detects something, namely when the door opens. Now I have a lot of scenes and devices to choose from, but I'm going to scroll down back to the kids' bathroom. I'm going to choose all the lights and the exhaust fan, so those 3 items there. Tap Next. Now I can decide what happens. Well, I want them all to turn off. And now it's simply turn them off as soon as the door opens. But I was getting complaints from the kids that it turned off too fast, and if they opened the door but still were doing something in the bathroom, they wanted it to stay on. So we're actually going to go back one, and instead of just controlling the devices, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the very bottom of this page and convert to shortcut. This is super hidden, especially if you have a lot of smart home devices, but gives you way more actions to customize these automations. Now you can see it already has the 3 accessories I chose right here, and I can tap in and you'll see I have all 3 accessories turning off. But I want to add a wait command. This way the lights don't turn off immediately, they wait about 30 seconds. So here I'm going to search for the wait action. You'll recognize this if you build shortcuts, but you'll also notice you don't get a lot of actions that you do in the Shortcuts app. Now I'm going to move the wait command above the set devices, and instead of 1 second, I'm going to choose 30 seconds. And now when the door opens, the shortcut is going to run, it's going to wait 30 seconds, and then turn off all the lights. I'll tap the check, and now that automation is ready. You can title it, and this is going to be useful if you create a lot of automations to easily distinguish them. I'll just call it Kids Bath Off, and there's our new automation ready to go. Next, let's create a multi-step automation. Out on my patio, I have some ceiling fans, but I also have a weather sensor and a motion sensor, and I want to be able to turn the fans on automatically if I go out on the patio and it's hot, but I don't want them to turn on if it's cold outside. So here we're actually going to use 2 sensors in the automation. I'm going to add another automation here in the Home app, and this time I'm going to choose when a sensor detects something. Here I'm going to go down to my backyard devices, and you see I have multiple sensors. I do have a HomePod Mini out on the patio, so that's the humidity sensor. It's also a temperature sensor, but also have a dedicated Eve motion sensor, and I believe I call that patio motion. So I'm going to choose that sensor, and I'm going to say when it detects motion, but this time I'm going to choose a time. If someone goes out on the patio in the middle of the night, I don't need the fans to turn on. So I'm just going to say during the day. Now when you tap the eye, you can also choose, do you want this sunrise and sunset? Do you want it to end maybe an hour after sunset? Or you can hard code specific times. So you could say 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. if you choose that. I'm good with during the day and the sunset times I set there. And let's go to Next. But now we need to convert to shortcut again. So I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom and convert to shortcut. Now remember, we already have the trigger when motion is detected, but now I need to get the state of the outside temperature. So I'm going to X out that first action so we have a blank shortcut here, and I'm going to search for Home, or you could just tap it right here, and I'm going to choose Get State. Now, Get State is great to use with different sensors like temperature sensors. So if I tap accessory state, I'll go back down to the backyard devices. And now I'm going to choose my Eve weather, which provides humidity and temperature. And this way I can use the outside temperature as a conditional for this automation. So I'll choose Eve temp, and I want it to get the current temperature. Now I'm going to add an if statement. So remember, when motion is detected, if, and now we can see if temperature, and on this if statement, instead of is, I'm going to tap that and say is greater than or equal to, and let's put 76 degrees. So when motion is detected and the temperature is over 76 degrees, I'm going to now add another home action, this time the control home action. This I'll put under that first if statement, and I'm going to select my patio fans. I went back down to my backyard, here are my patio fans, tap next, and I want them to turn on when it's hot. So we'll turn those on, tap the check. So now when motion is detected on the patio and the outside temperature is over 76 degrees, the fans are going to turn on. Otherwise, and I don't have to do anything, it'll just do nothing. So if the temperature is under that number, it won't turn on the fans. And that's it. Now I have a multi-conditional automation based on motion and temperature outside, whether or not the fans on the patio turn on. And while you're automating your house for 2026, automate your floor cleaning with today's sponsor, the eufy Omni S2. I've used dozens of robot vacuums over the last few years, and one thing I noticed is their suction and cleaning power decreases over time. Well, that's where the Omni S2 is different. They have Aero Turbo 2.0 long-lasting suction. So not only does it have industry-leading 30,000 pascals of suction, but combined with the large airflow provided by multi-cone cyclone technology, it's the first and only 100 AW suction power robot vacuum, which means it has the industry-leading trash pickup and true deep clean performance. Also with this tech, the filter is hard to clog, allowing it to provide long-lasting, strong deep cleaning power even after a year of use. And on a personal note, I've been using it the last couple weeks, and I really love the smaller tower design. It still has the clean water, dirty water tank, emptying dustbin, but the robot itself is even lower profile, allowing it to get under furniture and sofas, and it moves fast, and it cleans really well while it's getting there, which is pretty wild. Not only is it great for hard floors, especially in the kitchen where there's lots of debris, but after the product chassis is raised by 1.5 centimeters, it can climb over a 2-inch or 5 centimeter carpet, and it increases that suction power for a deep clean. The Omni S2 also has an extending side brush to get all the way into those corners and a dual zero tangling system with rubber brush preventing all that hair buildup. But it doesn't just vacuum, it's upgraded to the powerful HydroJet 2 self-cleaning roller mop. It's the longest roller mop in the industry, and it also extends to clean along your baseboards and around your furniture. The mop cleans itself 4 times a second at 240 RPM, with dual squeegee strips. And the electrolyzed water that's used to mop kills 99.99% of common bacteria. Basically, it makes itself and the floor always clean. It never spreads the dirt. Plus, it has AI object recognition to navigate around all those toys and furniture and shoes, and to make sure it cleans the messiest spills. It even cleans tassel carpet and has an air fragrance module. So automate your cleaning in 2026, grab the eufy S2 Omni, and use my code eufys2VIP, and you can save $200 off. That promo code and link is down in the description. It's only good for 30 days, so grab it soon. And my thanks to Eufy for sponsoring this video. All right, next, we're gonna use a third-party app, which is free to use with up to 3 notifications, and that's called PushCut. I'll put a link to the PushCut app down in the description, but with PushCut, you can have different notifications. I actually use these in battery automations to let me know when devices are below a certain percentage, but this is great to let you know if a door is open. The Home app doesn't have this natively. So what you would do is here in the PushCut app, tap the plus icon to create a new notification. This title is just for your reference. I'll call this mini fridge open. And then depending on what you want to happen here in the notification, you could say door left open, mini fridge open, whatever you'd like. If you want to have even more text or information in the notification, you can, but I usually just leave it like that. You can also add actions, so when you actually tap the notification, things happen, but I don't need any of that. I just want to be notified if it's left open. So I'll tap the blue check, and after you tap the blue check, you'll now have the option to copy the URL. So what we're going to do here is copy URL in PushCuts. We'll use that, and that's all we have to do. Our PushCut is set up. Do make sure notifications are on for the PushCut app. This way you actually get it. Now I'm going to go back to the Home app, go to the Automations tab, and let's tap the plus icon. And now I want to do a new automation when a sensor detects something. Now for this one, we're gonna need a contact sensor. I'm using the Aqara P2 contact sensor on the mini fridge, the same one I used in my kid's bathroom. And here in the backyard, I can choose the mini fridge. That's why it's helpful to also label sensors what the object or device is rather than just leaving it as humidity and temperature. I need to go back and rename some of mine. Now we want this automation to run when the door opens. You can choose time any. I'm going to choose people off, and I'm going to go next. And once again, we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and convert to shortcut. Now I'm going to delete this first action so we have a blank slate, and I'm going to start with a wait command. We obviously don't want to be notified every time the door opens. We want to be notified if it's left open. So I'm going to change this wait command to maybe 60 seconds, maybe 120 seconds. I find if you try to go more than 2 or 3 minutes with the wait command, it's not going to be as reliable. So let's leave that as a wait 60 seconds. And now I'm going to choose another home action for get state. We want to get the accessory state of that contact sensor. Let me go back down to my backyard and let's get the mini fridge status. So I'll choose the mini fridge again. What is the state? And now I'm going to add an if statement. So now if the contact sensor is, and I can also tap where it says contact sensor state in the if statement, and instead of number, I'm going to choose name. And if name is open, this way I can just use natural language, then I want to get a notification. So we're going to get one more action here. We're going to find the get contents of URL action. And instead of get contents of contact sensor, we're going to clear that variable. We're going to paste our push cut URL. I'll paste it here and we're done. That's the whole automation. So when the sensor detects that the door is opened, it's going to wait a minute, check the current state, and if it is still open, it will send me a notification. Otherwise, it won't do anything. So if the door is closed again within that minute, I won't be notified. And that's it. We've set up our automation to let us know when the mini fridge door is left open. Next, if you have a smart thermostat, which I have the Ecobee thermostat, it's not the latest model, but it still works super well, and you can control it all here in the home app, cooling, heating, auto, and more. Well, we can automate our thermostat based on the temperature outside or even the temperature in the house. For this one, let's create a new automation. And this might be an automation we want to run every day to kind of check what the weather is going to be later. But let's base this on the outside temperature. Obviously, the Ecobee thermostat can do an auto, and you can set the specific temperatures when to cool and heat. Now, I actually want to base this automation on the weather forecast for the day. Now, this is not something a sensory can detect, so I'm actually going to choose when a time of day occurs. And I want this to run every morning at sunrise. I'm going to tap next. I'm going to skip all the scenes and devices, and guess what? We're going back down to convert to shortcut. I'll delete this first action, and now you'll see some of the actions available to us here in the home automations is weather. So I'm going to go to weather, and I'm going to choose the get weather forecast. Now you can choose the hourly. It's a little harder to parse. You don't have access to things like Apple Intelligence here in the home automations, so I'll leave it as daily. So it should get me the high and low temperature for today. Now I'm going to add an if statement. There's lots of different variables within that first action. So once we add the if statement where it says if date, I'm going to tap where it says date, and now I want to go down to temperature or the low and the high. I'm actually going to choose the high temperature. If the high temperature, and I'll tap is, and you can choose is greater than or equal to, and let's say if the high is greater than 76, then I can add a home action to control my thermostat. I'll tap control home, put it under that if statement, and I can choose my Ecobee thermostat. I'll go down to the temperature action, that's my Ecobee right there, and I can choose how I want to set this. I can tap in and say, well, I want it to set to cool to 72 degrees when this automation runs. You can also choose to set it to auto or heat. So you can create other automations for when it drops below a certain temperature outside, like during the winter, to automatically go into heat mode or whatever you would like. Tap the check. And now if the forecast shows that it's going to be greater than 76 degrees, then it's going to set my Ecobee on cool to 72. You can also put another set action under the otherwise, so if it doesn't reach that temperature, you can have it on something else, but now you can adjust your home based on the forecast without even doing anything. Once this automation is set, you're good to go. So those are some of the more advanced automations, but I want to show you a few others that I use all the time. I talked about this in my whole home tour, which I'll put a QR code here, scan that, and you can see my entire smart home tour with hundreds of devices. I go through every room and how I use it, but I'm going to choose a new automation, and this time when an accessory is controlled. I love using this action. This way I can make basically any device in my smart home a switch or button that controls other things. So for instance, in the master bathroom, anytime we leave, I always turn off the vanity lights. It's the first switch in a row of 3, and we're only going to turn that off if we're actually leaving the bathroom. So I want that to be a trigger for all the other devices. I'll tap next, and I'm going to say when this turns off, so when I turn off the vanity lights. You can also choose time of day. So if you don't want this to run during the evenings or late at night for whatever reason, you can specify that. But then I'll go down and select all the devices in the master bathroom. So the shower fan, we have a master closet in there, the light, even the shades and HomePod, and also our little toilet room with the fan and light. I want everything to turn off and the HomePod to pause. So I can tap that. And now when I turn off that one vanity light, everything is going to turn off in the bathroom. So I don't have to go through and tap every switch. One switch controls the entire bathroom during a certain time of day or all the time, and even pauses the HomePod. Now, one other when an accessory is controlled automation. Our master bathroom has a window and it goes to the backyard, and if there's ever someone walking around outside, they can just look in the bathroom. So we want the shades to close when someone is taking a shower. Now, whenever someone takes a shower, there is a shower fan, the exhaust fan in the bathroom, and we always turn that on when we take a shower. So I'm gonna let that be a trigger to start a bunch of other devices. So when the master bathroom fan turns on, and again, you could say just during the day, because my shades automatically close at sunset anyway. So when our master bathroom fan turns on, I'm gonna go down to my master bathroom devices. I don't need to control everything, but I do want the shades to lower, and maybe I wanna start a playlist on the HomePod while I'm taking a shower. Also, our master bedroom is right next to the bathroom, and I wanna close those shades too. So I can go over to our master bedroom, and here I'll choose our 2 window shades. And now whenever the shower exhaust fan turns on, it's gonna close all 3 shades, those in our master bedroom and bathroom, and it's gonna play my HomePod, and I can choose the audio here, whatever playlist I would like, just choose audio. And now I know all my windows are gonna be covered when someone's taking a shower. All right, last 2 quick automations. This is not really an automation, this is just built into this kind of device. But if you have a garden hose that you use to maybe refill your pool when it gets low or water something, having your hose be able to turn off automatically is a huge deal. Now, I've used the Eve Aqua. That's a great device, highly recommend, probably over the one I'm using right now. I'm currently testing the Maris water hose controller. It's Wi-Fi only, it doesn't have thread, but it still works pretty well. I can turn it on or off here in the Home app, and the device has a built-in automation. So I can tap the settings gear for this device, and you'll see the default runtime. And if I change this, that means anytime it turns on, it's gonna turn off automatically after whatever time I set. 2 hours is usually what I need to refill the pool after it's been played in heavily. And so I can be sure that that hose is not gonna stay on and overfill my pool. It's gonna run for 2 hours and that's it. So this little built-in home automation, this is both in the Eve Aqua and the Maris water hose thing that I got. That's a really helpful setting, especially when it comes to water. And lastly, motion sensors are a great way to automate lights turning on and off, but an even better way is occupancy. Mostly because the automation for motion sensors is when it stops detecting motion, if you turn your lights off, it might turn them on when you're just sitting there reading. So instead of using motion to trigger those automations, occupancy is a great option. Now my Ecobee thermostat actually has an occupancy sensor, but if you want to get one specifically, the Aqara FP300 is the newest one, battery operated, it works great, highly recommend. And you'll see you get a bunch of other sensors with it. There's light, there's motion, humidity, but there you'll see occupancy sensor. So when you choose that, now I can say when it stops detecting occupancy, I'll say any time of day, tap next, and this one I actually will run a scene rather than controlling individual lights. I have a I'm done working scene, I'll tap next, and now when it stops detecting occupancy, meaning when I actually leave the studio, not just when I stop moving, I can be very still and it will still detect my occupancy, then it will shut off everything in my studio. And this is going to be much more useful and reliable compared to that stops detecting motion option. I'll tap the check and I'm going to leave that automation running. So those are some advanced automations and how to set them up. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Links to all the devices that you would need to run these automations, I'll also link down there. And if you want to see my full smart home tour, check it out up here and subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. I do a lot of smart home content on this channel, as well as automation in general. Lots of shortcuts videos, kind of obsessed with those, so you'll see a ton of them here on the channel. But I actually did a top 20 shortcuts of 2025, and if those don't convince you to use shortcuts, well, let me know what shortcut might be useful for you down in the comments and I'll try to build it. But you can check out my top 20 shortcuts right up here. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.